What is up, bros? With Josh here. In today's video, we're going over the new updated version of the Ohio we just got, and this one got some tweaks. As you saw in my last video, the Ohio used to be pretty much just a better Montana. Now, a quick overview: what is an Ohio? Basically, the Ohio follows the same pattern we've seen for USN Battleships when it comes to the premium side in the last year or so, which following the Massachusetts as well as the Georgia, where it gives you a more secondary focused option, and it's kind of more fun. They're just more fun versions. And the Ohio kind of continues to bring that. However, you see it only has double turrets. What it does, it's basically a Montana frame. It's almost identical. And with that, you get 4 doubles instead of 4 triples, but you get really, really good secondaries, range that is. So you have bigger shells, 457, so they are bigger, but you get basically an overall smaller salvo, says it's 8 versus 12. However, this is the captain build I do run in this captain. It is secondary focus, because of course we want to see that, and you will see those pop off shortly. For the Ohio, this is the captain I am running right now, and it's just straight over from my Massachusetts, so it is a full secondary build. So we have all the big secondary skills, obviously, but I am running Priority Target. We are running Adrenaline Rush, basic survivability, just for a little bit more survivability, obviously. We are getting that extra range when it comes to secondaries. We are also picking up manual fire, because, I mean, I'm fully embracing this thing, having secondaries. You might as well. Having a lot of fun with this, and it's nasty when you can use this. The question is, how often can you actually use this? We are picking up inertia fuse for a little bit extra damage, and with that 19 points going back and picking up preventative maintenance, this is just a nice thing to have. Honestly, I'd probably grab preventative maintenance first, and with this, it's up to you if you want to do maybe expert loader or whatever. But I am, for some reason, liking priority target on the Ohio. It lets you know how kind of screwed you are. This is the optional captain I would probably run. And this is something that obviously you kind of give up a bit of its identity. You give up manual fire control. However, you're still going to get that range, but you do get a little bit more survivability. I want to maybe test this a bit more of this build. I think this one might end up being just a bit better. You still keep that long range. There's maybe some builds where you just fully accept that you're a tier 10 battleship, but I just don't want to. I want to live that secondary life. So I am keeping that range. It sucks to give this up, but also fire prevention is so good in the current game right now. Same skills regardless of that. And we also are picking up concealment expert. Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't concealment expert fans when it comes to this, but being able to just get a little bit closer and disengage at certain points can be quite nice. So getting these kind of skills might be the captain I might end up going with. Fire prevention just being a nice one for survivability. For modules, this is what I'm running. Just kind of basic. I am going the more accurate main bat because I thought about maybe running, some fun, like a faster reload, but I want them to hit as hard as possible. May mess around a little bit with main bat, but I am taking artillery plot room 2, sorry. And this is such a good skill when it comes to any battleship. 11% is pretty big. We are taking concealment expert. This is pretty, it's a no-brainer. Damage control system mod 2, nice survivability increase there. Obviously, we're taking the secondary battery mod 1. Now, there isn't the other increase. We could grab a little bit extra range, which would pump us out to, 23, 24. I'm thinking about it sometimes, but still, I want to keep that identity of the secondary range, which is quite nice. 20% is just so good, as well as the dispersion. And then damage control system mod 1, as well as aiming mod, or main armament mod 1. It's a pretty basic build right here, and obviously we are running some extra stuff. I am running spotter plane instead of fighter plane. I'm liking that. Spotter plane is a fantastic thing, taking those splints out of smoke that are just sitting there. So overall, that's the build I'm running. So some optional builds, pick what you want, and we'll get back to the game footage. In the original version of the Ohio we got, it was kind of too strong, and it's definitely gone through some tweaks. The tweaks really hit its main battery, which I found to be kind of, there was no trade-off. With this, you kind of want to see options. As you see with the Massachusetts compared to the North Carolina, the main battery just isn't as accurate and consistent, but it has the really good secondaries compared to the North Carolina. With the Ohio, it was, even though you had fewer shells in your salvo, the shells hit so much harder, and they were so consistent, you didn't really see a bit of a downside. With the Ohio, they have now tweaked the gun, so the nerfs that hit it were the main battery gun reload increased from 26 seconds to 30 seconds, which is quite noticeable. It really is. Sigma increased, so it's basically the consistency of the shells. Sigma increased from 1.9 to 2.0, and then increased the size of the dispersion ellipse, that's going to be the wide, as well as the amount of hit points restored per second by repair party is lowered from 0.66% to 0.5. So basically, for layman terms, longer reload, worse heal. However, the guns still are pretty solid. However, though, this ship itself, to me, has kind of lost a little bit of excitement, honestly, because it honestly feels pretty balanced. But to me, there's a lot of situations that I kind of wish I could. I felt like maybe the guns when they were kind of better. I didn't want it to be just straight up better than the Montana, but there's a lot of situations where even though I'm fully secondaried out, you just kind of wished you were in a normal battleship. I wish I was in the Montana. So having that offset, and it kind of just shows how really secondary specs, although very fun, and you'll see a fantastic situation of how good they can be right here. This is a really good example, but this is our best game. There's a lot of games where you just can't get close enough when it comes to secondary builds, and you can't really use them to the full potential. And that was a bit of the downside when it comes to this. As you saw in our build, we are full-blown secondaries, so you'll see us pop off there. Also, we could have buffed out our secondaries just a little bit more with using the flag. However, when I'm first testing these ships, I don't use the flag. I just want to see the ship by itself. So we could have got a little bit more range when it came to that. But in the end, it wouldn't have really mattered, especially in this game. This game ended up not going in our favor, but we did have a lot of fun. So talking about builds and talking about secondary builds used to be the thing years ago. It was the go-to spec. It was so much fun, and it still is. However, how many times can you really get close with how the type of ships are these days? Like, how close and how effective can you be being a ship focused around your secondaries? There are some times where you're just not allowed to get close to ships, and that is whether being too many destroyers, there being a CC that will pick on you, as we're getting a destroyer picking on us right here. And just watch our pro gearing here. Yeah, you'll see it's a fun little story that develops with our gearing. And but still, when you can get into situations, which is why I wanted to show this game, it's still amazingly strong and amazingly good. However, I found that throughout all of my games when I was playing the Ohio, that these types of games were few and far between, which was kind of sad. And it kind of made for spots where I kind of wish I was in something that was maybe a little bit more just straight up battleship focused. However, I do, and I have always liked the option. As you see, we're just getting secondary hits on secondary hits, full-blown secondaries, so yes, it is a lot of fun. But I think in maybe the 10 games we played the first day we got this, there was only 1 or 2 games where we really used our secondaries to the full effect, just because we couldn't get close enough. But still, the shells are going to hit really hard, but you will definitely notice that the reload booster, or not the reload booster, the reload nerf really affect kind of the overlying impact of this ship when it came to battleship versus battleship. However, when a Massachusetts sailing broadside at kilometers, yeah, you're kind of be okay. But anyways, 6 minutes, sorry, 90k damage. It's still pretty freaking awesome and still a lot of fun. And that's what I think the ship is really going to bring for a lot of people, is just a fun alternative. If you love secondary builds, you're going to like the Ohio. That's just no real difference. If you like battleships, I think you'll kind of enjoy this ship, but you're going to notice that there are spots where you wish you were in other ships, maybe a bit more consistent. Also, when a nice Des Moines or Salem here is going to be sitting nice broadside right in the blue line, we're going to punish a little bit, so that's always good. Again, you are still a battleship, so you're going to absolutely wreck face, but there are spots right here that I bet you if this was a Montana, this probably would have been a dev strike. So this is a kind of a good example. However, if we were a Montana, I wouldn't be in this situation. I wouldn't be having this much fun, and yeah, they're going to hit pretty hard. And we would have probably not, I mean, we wouldn't have been outbound to do so much damage when it came to our secondaries. Also, just a big shout out to our Gearian that is sitting in his smoke, ripple firing, as I'm trying to get him to please go get the DD that is farming our team over here. But don't worry, the ripple fire on the battleship will continue for a while, and we will see a fun little outcome when it comes to this. Also, we're about to see how some really big shells deal with an Izumo, and I found this to be pretty fun as well. Again, this is going to be basically bought just like the Colbert through the Research Bureau, so if you are excited about that, there you go. You're going to be able to basically get this ship for regrinding the line, so it is kind of nice. But I feel like this ship, although offering a fun alternative to kind of high-tier battleship play, something we really haven't seen. Some people have kind of called this ship now the USN Curvehurst, and what I mean by that, and goodbye, little buddy. So there we go. So it's still a battleship. and I was like, man, this is gonna end up being a good video. The rest of this game, not so much fun. But 8 minutes, 186k. That's something that probably only this ship, maybe the Curvers, could have done there. So at least that's good. And but this has kind of been called the USN Curvers, and what I mean by that is that I think this version of the Ohio is just straight up, it's strong, or it's still strong in the right situations, but overall it's just, I think it's balanced now. But the balanced version of the ship to me just isn't really that exciting. If I really wanted to do like a secondary build, I think with this kind of setup now, I would probably just play the Kerr first, and we're gonna watch our gearing finally fight this Shimakaze. So sat in smoke. The Shimakaze killed one of our battleships because he sat there, and while our gearing had ripple fired everything, takes 2 torps, and that's a lot of fun. So a fun little story, and into the team chat he goes. But anyway, I digress. But the ship itself, though, as the Ohio, I almost call it the Montana, there are so many situations where I would have just rather had the Montana. I think the ship definitely did need some tweaks, and it definitely did get into a spot where, yeah, okay, this is kind of, it needs to have some kind of trade-off. Now that it does, I think the ship is fairly balanced, and I think it offers a good opposite, or a good alternate to gameplay. But I think overall, I would rather be in other ships now in so many situations. The GK, I think I'd rather do that when it comes to secondaries, and would rather play the Montana if I really wanted to be that battleship, or the Yamato, Kremlin, yada yada. Well, I mean, Kremlin's not really fair, right? But still, the balanced ship itself, for the amount of time it might take, I think the value of this ship, or the stock value of this ship, has kind of dropped a decent amount. Now it still is work in progress, so all those stats are subject to change. But I feel like this ship overall is quite balanced. I feel like its flavor, and you might have to kind of give it up. I don't know if you can go full-blown secondaries on this build, as you saw with my alternate captain build. We probably might have to drop the manual secondaries for something else. And it does kind of suck to really say that, saying, hey, we might have to lose the identity of this ship a little bit due to it just not quite being as strong elsewhere, and yada yada. Although, if you do like secondary battleships, and you do like USN battleships, obviously this is going to be a great credit earner for you. It's tier 10, and tier 10 premiums are going to be able to earn a ton of credits. And still, just overall, it can be still really fun. It does offer mainly a fun alternative. But if you are like a true battleship player, there's going to be spots where you're just really going to want to have other ships in many scenarios. Again, this ship is only going to be able to do... There are situations where the Ohio is only going to be able to do Ohio things, pushing. There's several games where we just let a push, and it's something that even like the GK, is only... It's just basically GK things, right? But the Ohio kind of is going to start falling elsewhere. The main battery gun output is definitely going to hurt. Also, you'll see, I don't know what it is, Ohio versus Montana never seems to... I don't know what it is. It never seems to Citadel Montes. I don't... If there's like a truce between these, or you'll see a Monty and a Ohio kind of brawl here, and yeah, nothing really happens. So we end up getting the kill. We do try our best to bring this back. If only our gearing was maybe a little bit better, we would have been able to do a little bit more damage there, as he continues to rage in chat. But yes, you'll see a nice little broadside salvo here, and a good little brawl to kind of finish out this game. But you can kind of see the writing on the wall. They have 2 DDs, we have none, and they have 2 caps, we have 1. But still, again, the changes to this ship have been mainly focused on its guns. Main battery nerfed from 26-second reload to 30, so 4 seconds there. Now you can make up that a little bit, but you will lose a bit of that extra gun accuracy. So maybe we'll play a little bit around with that and see if we can just pump out some more damage. I'm worried about the dispersion on the ship then being too inconsistent. Also, Sigma increased from 1.9 to 2, increased size of the dispersion ellipse, as well as the amount of hit points, going from 0.6% to 0.5. So a worse heal, a worse reload, and still I think overall a pretty balanced ship now. but what you give up, I think, might be just a bit too much now to be a situational battleship. To really kind of take on a consistent basis. Now again, it does offer a nice, and I thought I was out of all, I thought I was gonna, oh, also, I don't know where, I need to watch this salvo actually. So I don't know where those shells went. Maybe they just splashed the ever-living heck out of that, but I thought those were pretty solid. Anyways, but we see me and the Montana kind of trade. So we end up getting a decent amount of damage here. Lots and lots of secondaries. I think we end up having like 70,000 plus damage through secondaries. So again, the Ohio does offer a nice bit of alternate style of gameplay. However, we couldn't bring that game home. We were able to kind of lead the charge and be that fun secondary battleship. But I think overall, this ship definitely now a bit more balanced. I think has kind of lost a lot of its, I keep saying the word value, but has definitely lost a lot of its, you know, I think this might be easier to pass on. Originally, when it looks to be the, you know, the Georgia you just pick up with coal and you're kind of good to go. This one, you're going to definitely need to work a little bit more. It's going to cause some lines to regrind and yada yada. And I think it might be easy for a lot of people to pass. Now, if you don't have anything to do in the game and you want to pick it up that way, I mean, obviously we'll do it, and we'll do a is it worth it video. However, everything still here is work in progress, so we will officially see, things are still subject to change. I really don't think that we'll see too much different though with a live version. I think this ship is fairly balanced right now, and although it does offer a good alternate to a lot of the play, I don't know if that alternate is good enough to really make it a sale for me. We'll see though. We'll see how the ship continues to develop. A lot of the games that we kind of had in this ship where I tried to make the secondaries work, and if you've been playing high tiers at all, you know that secondary builds on battleships it just really aren't the easiest thing to get into position to with certain, you know, with certain HE spammers and stuff like that. It's really hard to get close to certain things. It's just a tough life, you know. It's definitely, the secondary builds have really not aged well. But the Ohio does offer a fun alternative to some high tier gameplay, a little bit of mix of the USN and the German at the same time. So if you like that style, you will like this ship. It is fun. I mean, still anything with secondaries, just popping off 330 secondary hits. We had that game. I mean, it's hard not to just smile when you're getting that many secondary hits and all that extra damage and just racking up the fun times there. But still, the Ohio definitely has lost a little bit of excitement for me. And definitely when we were playing this all live on twitch.tv/mejash, some people in chat were even like, maybe I'm going to pass on this ship now. But we'll see how the ship develops. I'll keep you guys up to date, but this is the update version of the Ohio, the Tier 10 USN Premium Battleship. Anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.